Hey everyone, welcome to Dread No Mondays. Thank you for taking time to tune in and be here. Today we are joined by Ed Rocha. Ed, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. And please take a minute, if you wouldn't mind, to tell us who you are and what you're about.
Awesome. Hi, Kenny. Well, good morning or good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Ed, and I am the founder of The Morning Goals. The Morning Goals is a business coaching and life consulting firm practice based here in Boston, but we're virtual and have clients all over the U.S.
Awesome, awesome. Now we were talking a little off camera that previously you weren't necessarily a Monday person or a morning person. I wanted to jump in how that change came to be with, with starting your own company, with all of that.
Yeah, very good. So I am one of those people who says I'm not a morning person. And I actually chose the name The Morning Goals for my company, for my business name, as I incorporated for two reasons. One, if I felt that if I changed my mindset that and actually had a legal entity that was started with the word morning, that I would become a morning person, number one. And number two, to your point, I could change this to the Monday goals, right? Because I think that how we start our week on Monday and also how we start our mornings really affect how we do business. It affects our mood and our emotions, and it affects sort of our relationships. So I strongly believe, number one, that how you start your Monday is pivotal to having a change in mindset, a change in your relationships and how they work in your business. So I am a very social person. So Saturdays and Sundays were for hanging out with friends, or are hanging out with friends pre-pandemic, going out, having brunch, etc. So I generally used to start my Monday mornings groggy, slightly hungover, and not in a good mood because I don't like waking up early. But I have teams that depend on me as the boss, as the founder, as the creator of our companies. And I need to be on Monday morning. So actually, Sunday evening, I protect for myself. I protect for my businesses. I'm not afraid to meet with people or work Sunday evenings because I think that calms me down as I start the week. And then as I wake up in the morning on Monday, I try to get a head start before everybody wakes up. So I generally start around 5:30 or 6 in the morning. It's become easier over time. And I have seen a big shift in sort of, my stress levels, how my team members operate, and how business is growing.
Awesome. There were a few things in there that came to mind as you were talking. One of the sayings, I'm a big Grant Cardone fan, and one of the things he says is commit first, figure it out later. And so once you put that business name out there, you're like, all right, I got to do it now. I gotta show up, kind of thing. Or have you seen the movie Twins?
I've not, no.
Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And in the movie, Danny DeVito's character asked Arnold Schwarzenegger's character to help him drive a car, and while they're on the way to get that car, Arnold is learning how to drive. So it's like, all right, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out on the way. I'll do what I have to do. So I like that, because that puts a lot of it could be positive pressure if you let it be on yourself. I said I'm going to do this thing. How do I do it? And you grow so much and stuff because of that commitment you made to yourself or others or whoever.
Yeah, to that point, right? It's we talk a lot in coaching about changing your mindset, right? So we talk about in coaching also like doing affirmations and positive affirmations. So to the examples that you gave, right? So if I tell myself I'm a morning person, or I'm the founder of the Morning Goals, change is happening, right? And I would say, what I did was I accept, one, we have to decide that we want to do this, right? Change our mindset and make a shift. And two, the reality is that you have a podcast to Don't Dread Your Mondays, and I have a business on people who don't like to wake up in the mornings. It is a reality that both you and I from different parts of the country have realized that we need to tackle or talk about because people don't like their mornings as much as they should, or people don't like their Mondays as much as they should. So this is a thing. Anybody who's listening, this is a thing. So this is why we're both doing this. And I think that once I realized that I wanted to make the change, I forced myself to make the change. And then there comes intentionality. I always talk about intentionality of different types of marketing or progress or education, right? So now, because I've identified that I saw a mood change when I did have good mornings. I saw a mood change and a business change and of effectiveness when I had great Mondays, right? Then I realized that now, okay, I need to then continue being intentional about this growth, this change in this process, right? So forcing ourselves, I think you said that positive stress is awesome. And then now that you're in control of it, then you can be intentional of how you grow.
Exactly, I love that. And one thing that I've been learning and relearning myself, is that you can be in control.
Right.
Circumstances don't have to control what's happening with you, and you're in control of how you respond to those circumstances.
1000%, 1000%. So let's start. So Sunday night, there I do get distractions. So my Sunday evening this does not happen this last Sunday because Monday was a holiday for some of us. I like to sit down for an hour or two. This is a ritual that I've done, and go through all of my email in a very calm environment, maybe with a cocktail, with listening to music by myself, and set the week up and set my day up. Some people refuse to do that because they do not work on weekends. And I don't say that you need to work on weekends, but for me, being able to set up the week is very impactful for me. So I set up the week. I know what's coming the next morning. So I actually can go to bed calm, knowing there aren't any emergencies because I've already tackled them or addressed them or set up a meeting to deal with them. And then Monday mornings, I like to wake up early. And then I have a rule that before 9 a.m., I try to go for either a walk or do some sort of exercise. Because I do believe that, we should be starting the week moving. I'm a firm believer in getting going and moving and blood flow and all of those things. And then lastly, I want to say one other thing about this, and then I'll default to you in a second. There are other things that I think, let's imagine we have the $1 million morning, right? We have, everybody tells us that you need to take a cold shower, drink lemon water as soon as you get up to activate your system, and, do 100 push-ups. That works for some people, but that may not work for everybody, right? And so what I would tell everybody is, within the confines of your environment, your family, and what you need to do, try to figure out your ritual, right? So don't try, figure out what works best for you. You may not be able to physically go out and walk before 9 a.m. or do exercise before 9 a.m. for whatever reason. That's okay. So I would say is find your morning ritual that you do every single Monday that is aligning with your happiness, your goals, and go from there.
Absolutely. Like you pointed out, everyone is different. Their habits are different. The patterns are different. Routines different. Whatever. Like for me, I am not an early morning person.
And that's okay.
At 4 o'clock to go somewhere, it means I'm going on vacation out of town. That's like the only.
Right.
But I stay up until midnight.
Right.
And so I'll play with my son at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when everybody's working, or whatever, because that's what schedule is. And I'm on my computer at 10 o'clock at night because my son's in bed, kind of thing. So a couple of things that I found with a lot of my guests and stuff is everybody's different, but they can find a way. And like you said, nobody works weekend. There are some people that refuse to work weekends. One of the biggest impacts I've had, like you said, you don't have to make a huge dramatic change at first, but just being open to that possibility of, hey, what if we tried just this little shift, or something simple like that, or a simple text message on a Saturday night, hey, how's things going?
Right.
Or whatever, not a huge change in your schedule, a 15-second text message, and then it can start to trickle in a positive
Right.
flow. And then something else. So something I also want to ask you is, there's always an underlying reason why people hate Mondays. Whatever that Monday is for you. Like I said, it could be mowing the lawn. It could be sweeping off the back porch. It could be doing laundry. Whatever that Monday is for you, there's always an underlying reason. How do you help people, or how did you find that underlying reason?
Yeah. So if you don't like something, whether it's Monday or anything else, the underlying issue is probably something very personal. It might have to do with emotions, feelings. It could have to be trauma. It could be fear, etc. So I'm glad you said this, because it's kind of made me remember something. So I used to work in finance. So I went to school at Harvard as an undergrad, and I started working in investment firms right after college. And I hated my boss. And we're really good friends now. I no longer work for him. He's a great man. He's a horrible boss. And I tell this story all the time. So I really, really dreaded Mondays, because Saturday and Sunday was my emotional freedom. I didn't have to worry about work, although he would viciously send me messages during the weekend, but I allowed him to do that. So that was on me. But like, weekend was my emotional freedom. So for those of you who have 9-to-5 jobs, who work in corporate America and go into an office, I understand that your weekend might be your emotional freedom from work. And then we dread going to work, because the reality is we might not like our jobs. We might not like our bosses. We might not like that being, loss of control that we sort of kind of give up when we're working in a hierarchy of things, right? In the corporate world or whatever. I like my Mondays now because I've taken control of them, right? I no longer work for the boss I don't like. I actually own 3 different companies and have a team of myself. And my team meets with me at 8 o'clock in the morning on Monday. And I hope, and I try very much, and they all smile when I come to the meetings, because I want them to enjoy their Mondays. I don't want to be like my boss was to me when I was a kid, and say, I don't want to be here, right? I want them to be there because, 1, I'm a good teacher, 2, I'm a fun entertainer, but 3, I'm a fantastic motivator, right? And I want to make sure that they're not dreading their Mondays when we start all together. Like, it should be an environment that is empowering them to share their ideas, elevating their skill set, but also, working on our business, and as we kind of grow our business and our business lines. And I think that, to be very honest, Kenny, I dreaded my Mondays because I didn't have control, because there was emotional freedom. When I quit my corporate job and started working on my own businesses, I leaned in on my passion. And to that question you asked was like, how did you, shift or whatever? I think I found what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to do the things that make me happy, which is art and language education and working with people and talking. I'm a talker, if you can tell. And I was able to sort of do those, right? So if any of you guys dread your Mondays because of work and career, maybe we should have a conversation to kind of talk that through. Maybe it's time for a career change or a job change. If you dread your Mondays because of that freedom that you don't have anymore, that's something we should talk about. But also ask yourself, are you doing the thing that you love? Because every day I wake up, this morning I was actually on vacation last week, and I literally have 15 or 16 meetings that I have to show up for. This is not work time, it's not computer time. It's actually, I'm talking to people and working. I'm looking forward to all of those things, including, including this interview, because I like it. And so today's my Monday. Actually, for those of you who are listening after the fact, Kenny and I are recording on the Tuesday after Memorial Day. So this is technically my Monday morning, right? Because I didn't work yesterday. And this is probably your Monday morning. And I woke up excited to see my team, see what I had missed out on, what progress have we made, and all of those things. So yeah, so those are things that I think are important for us to think about.
I love that, and it brings up a couple things. One, going back to like the underlying reason. You mentioned that you realized, excuse me, like Saturday and Sundays you would hang out and party and start Monday mornings, kind of um, groggy and sometimes hungover or whatever, and it sounds like you realize, okay, if I do this on Friday and Saturday, it's gonna add this on Monday. So maybe if I don't do it quite so much, it'll make Monday better. So finding those underlying reasons. And then you mentioned the word control. And I like that you mentioned that. So thank you for mentioning it, because it brings up something that a lot of people don't think about. And I didn't years ago. It was the last few years that I've really had that mindset shift, and I'm still, in a way, blindsided by how much I don't know. You don't know how much you don't know until you know, kind of thing, whatever that saying is. And one thing I realized is, like you said, you allowed your boss to send you those texts. You allowed whoever at work to get you down. You're handing that control to them. Versus if you take that control back and say, they could say that, but I'm not going to let it affect my day.
Yes.
I like it, but I can control how I respond. And as far as the 9 to 5 and not having control in your emotional release on the weekend, you, in a way, you still gave control. Okay,
Yep.
I'm giving my boss control to tell me what hours. But if you think of that, then yeah, that's going to get you down. But if you're like, okay, this job that may not be my favorite is allowing me to put food on my table.
Yep.
Allowing me to serve my purpose. It's allowing me to XYZ. So if you focus on this, then it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the control thing is important to think about. So a lot of us are connected all the time. And I had a 9 to 5 job. I consult, and so I have deadlines I need to meet, etc.
Not to interrupt, but this is certainly not knocking 9 to 5, because there are times and places, and there are a lot of great 9 to 5 out there. So certainly not to knock that, but continue.
Not to knock that. It's like 90% of jobs are 9 to 5. I think, or something like that. So let's talk about control. So one is a couple of things. One, poor planning on your part is not emergency on mine. I say that often throughout the year, right? So if you knew there was a deadline that happened, that needed to happen, this deadline was coming, right? Planning is important. And I always talk about that sort of as a form of control. You're in control of your time most of the time, so plan appropriately. Two, giving others control is kind of what you said, what you had said there, that I had alluded to, is that you need to protect your time, right? And so I had an assistant, a colleague of mine, who allowed me to. She responded to every text message I ever sent her, whether it was at midnight or on Friday or on Sunday or on Saturday. And I pulled her aside and I said, no. I send you those text messages, not because I want a response. I know I'm your boss. I said, I want you, so I'm getting it out of my head. So none of that stuff is urgent. And I basically told her, you need to set boundaries, right? That's control, setting boundaries, so that you're not letting me ruin your life or ruin your dinner or ruin your whatever you're doing, right? So setting boundaries because you control your time, you control when you respond, you control who you will respond to and when. One of my favorite books is The 4-Hour Work Week. If anybody hasn't read it, you guys should read it. It's The 4-Hour Work Week, and I forget the guy who wrote it. He's he's crazy. But the whole idea there is that those of us who are locked into our phone because we're connected all the time, we're always responding to emails. Not because we have to, because we choose to. So all of those emails that you're responding to, or you're thinking you're busy, chances are that you're busy because you feel the urge that you need to reply right away, right now, etc., regardless of what you're doing. So what he argues is that 80%, I don't know the exact number of those emails, are actually not that important, and he only checks his email once a week. And if there's something urgent, then they will call him or text message him or email him again. And he's never missed anything important, from multi-million-dollar contracts or agreements, etc. So the urgency that we create on responding to that is we're giving control to that technology. And in reality, so right now, actually, to be very honest, Skinny, and this is kind of how we played phone tag, I was traveling. And so as we were trying to coordinate this, you got me on a bad time, and I sort of like, whatever, here we are. We were able to do it. I think we had 4 emails or 3 emails, so it wasn't lack of efficiency. We did it. It took a little bit longer than we wanted, but it got done. And I didn't need to drop everything I was doing, although I maybe wait a little bit. If it's that important, we'll get to it, and we got to it. So I would tell people, if you're addicted to your phone and responding to emails, try responding at 11 and at 4. And that's it. And I guarantee you're going to realize the world is going to keep spinning, number 1. And 2, you're going to catch everything you need to do, but just do it faster, quicker, and more efficient.
I love that. And there's so many things that can be, kind of the good, better, best story. It could be, a good text message to respond to, or a good email. There's nothing wrong with it. But, there are often times that I have to catch myself still. I'm like, no, that can wait. I'm spending time with my family, or I'm doing this over here. So this is good. It's not a bad thing per se, but it's better to be doing this over here.
Absolutely, right? Because then that makes you happy because you're doing the important things in life. And work is a means to an end to spend time with your family and to spend time with your son. And I think, so I think, back to the Monday thing, some people dread Mondays. I know this for a fact because there is what's waiting for them, right? That's a lack of control. They don't know what's waiting for them. So my strategy is I work a little bit on Sunday evening in a fun environment of my choosing, right? Generally in this home office with my music playing and maybe a cocktail. So when I wake up on Monday, there's really no surprises because I know what's happening. So some people go blind, and that creates stress and anxiety because they don't know when they go to the office, they don't know what's going to happen, right? And so that's sort of a way to figure that out. But also, when you get to the office, when you work with people, setting those boundaries and those routines and rituals is so important for people's mental health. I on the theme of control, what I tell everybody during the pandemic, we've also realized when you're working from home, you might actually be working more than you were before when you were in the office. And there's a whole thing there because there are 2 parts of it. One is you want the boss to think you're working. So you're creating more work on purpose to show work, number 1. And number 2, you're letting work into your home, literally. So right now, as Kenny is interviewing me, he is looking into my space and into my home. This is my home office. And that creates anxiety. And that boundary that we talked about earlier gets blurred literally because I'm allowing work into my space. And I think that that's also important for people to protect their space, protect their home and their home life. And I think that control thing is also important when you figure out what you're getting yourself into before Mondays. That way your Monday is happy and go lucky.
Exactly. And excuse me, and likewise, you're looking into my home office too right now. And to go along with what you're saying and that control and stuff, and especially at home, is oftentimes spend so much effort and time on what they're going to think. Like when I first started doing this podcast, I've got some sticky notes on my wall with little sayings and things like that. And I'm like, oh no, it doesn't look all neat and tidy and clean lines and stuff. I'm like, who cares? It's what works for me. It helps me flow, be creative, be who I am. I'm not saying be a cluttered mess or anything like that. I'm just saying it's your flow and what works for you. Your office space is different than what my office space is.
Absolutely.
And
yeah, and I think back to Monday mornings. One of the things that I arrived from my vacation Saturday evening. We were off on Sunday and Monday, but I actually spent time organizing my desk and creating a space that's clean and comfortable and not cluttered, or cluttered in the way that makes us productive and creative, right? I am a sticky note guy too. And so I all lined up at the bottom of my computer screen. But I organize them on Sundays so that I did that, I update them. So also, as you prepare your space for Mondays, think about what works for you, right? What is your, mine's a cleansing of sticky notes. That's one way to create my space. I have a jug of water downstairs when I'm working from home by the kitchen sink. I load that up on Sunday night to get that ready for the week. I generally drink a lot of water on Monday and Tuesday, and it kind of falls out on Wednesday and Thursday. But had I not set that up on Monday, I would drink less water than I did before, right? So setting up your space for success. And you might be a clutter person, which is okay. My partner has piles of stuff, and he calls them organized piles. That works for him. Stresses me out. But if that's okay for you, whatever works for you, but allow you to clean up that space. Look at that calendar. I clean up my calendar last night, again, because today's my Monday. I actually cleaned up my calendar and then, saw what time I had to exercise and what time I had time to eat lunch. All of those things are important.
I like that. Two final questions as we wrap this up. One, if people wanted to reach out to you and learn more about what you do and whatnot on your 3 businesses, where could they find you?
Yeah, the easiest place to find me is themorninggoals.com. And I'm also on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram and LinkedIn at the same, The Morning Goals.
Awesome. And we'll put those links in with the description as well. And then final question, what would be like the 1 to 2 little tidbits you would tell people closing out?
Yeah, so to not dread your Monday. So everybody out there knows why they dread their Mondays. We all know it. Whether we verbalize it or not, we already know it. Whether it's a boss, whether it's emails, whether it's the lack of freedom on the freedom you're sacrificing. So what I would challenge everybody to do is write down why they don't like their Mondays, and then verbalize it, write it down, and then make a plan to like your Mondays, right? Everybody, we talk about exercise and diets. We all know what we need to do, what we do wrong, good or bad. We just don't do it, period, right? Obviously, there's some medical conditions that prevent people from doing, that stuff. That's okay, but most of us, we know what we need to do. I know that if I want to learn Spanish, I need to study Spanish and practice Spanish and hire a Spanish tutor, right? So we need to do those things. So you already know why you don't like your Mondays. So if you listen to me and my voice, and you made it to the end of this wonderful podcast, write it down and slowly make those changes to empower yourself, whether it's a morning ritual, a Sunday night ritual, a diet change, a drinking habit change. You already know what you need to do, so empower yourself to do it.
I love that. Great way to close it out. Again, thank you for being here. I appreciate you taking the time to be here and making it work. And thank you everyone for tuning in, and let us know how we can help you. Dread no Mondays.